Alright, this is the most technical section of the entire course, so I'll try my best to go slowly and explain things in detail. Be sure to follow along very carefully. You can't really screw this up, but it's easy to get lost if you're not paying attention. To start out, you've got to download the content management system we'll be using, which is called WordPress. Some web hosts have one-click WordPress installation built in, but for the others, we'll have to do it manually. To download WordPress, you'll want to visit wordpress.org and download the newest version. Again, that is wordpress.org and not wordpress.com, which is a completely different platform that we want to avoid. So once you're on wordpress.org, at the time of recording, the button you'll want to click on is in the top right corner of the site. From there, on the right-hand side, you want to download the newest version as a .zip file. After it finishes downloading, you do not want to extract the .zip file. For now, just leave it as it is. Alright, now you'll want to go into the control panel of your website, and your web host should have told you where this is located. You may have gotten an email or something similar. Once you're logged into your control panel, you'll want to click the button that says File Manager, and open that up. Now, if you look on the left-hand side, you should see a huge list of various sections and folders. You'll want to open up the one that says public_HTML, and underneath that, you should find your domain name. Double-click to open that up. If your domain name isn't there, just double-click on the public_HTML section. It should be relatively empty, which is fine. This is where we're going to upload WordPress. From here, click the Upload button at the top of the File Manager. Another screen should pop up, as shown here. Click the Choose Files button, which should open up another box showing the files on your computer. Navigate to the area where WordPress was downloaded to. This could be your Downloads folder, for example. I think on some browsers, the default folder may be your Documents. If you can't find it, do a search using the search bar, and it should pop up. Alright, from there, click the Open button, and WordPress should start uploading to your server. This can take a few seconds to a few minutes depending on your internet connection, so be patient. From there, go back to the File Manager window where you just were, and click on the Refresh button. You should see your WordPress zip file there now. If it's not there, make sure you're in the folder with your domain name on it, or in the public HTML main folder. Right-click the file, and click Extract, and then Extract Files. Once that's done, click the Refresh button again, and you should see a folder called WordPress. Now if you leave the files where they are now, inside of that WordPress folder, you can still run your website, but in order to get to it, people would have to type /WordPress after typing in the name of your domain. I'm going to assume you don't want that. I'm going to assume that you want your full site to come up when people type just your site's name in, so we're going to move the WordPress files out of that folder. Double-click the WordPress folder to enter into it, and you should see a bunch of files and a few more folders as well. To move these files, click the Select All button, and then click the Move button. From here, delete the WordPress at the end of it, and click Move Files. Go back to the main folder, and verify the files are there, and then you can right-click on both the WordPress zip file and the WordPress folder, and click Delete to delete them. Once you're done, open up a new tab, and visit your website. You should see a WordPress installation screen that looks a little bit like this. If you're not seeing anything at all, or you see a generic splash page with a bunch of advertisements on it, that means your domain name hasn't fully connected to your web server yet, in which case, you've just got to wait. It can take anywhere from a few minutes to a few hours for this to happen, so be patient. If your site is up and online, we'll come back to it in a minute. There's actually one more thing you've got to do before you can install WordPress, and that is create something called a MySQL database. I won't get into the technicalities of this, but it essentially holds information such as your usernames, passwords, blog comments, posts, etc., etc. From the main page of your cPanel, click on the button that says MySQL Databases. Another page should come up there, and you should see a section that says Create New Database. Type in any name for the database you want, and then click Create Database. Make sure it's a name you can remember. Scroll down, and you should see another section called MySQL Users. You'll want to type in a username and a strong password here that you can remember, and click Create User. After you've done that, go back to the MySQL page and scroll down further. You'll see a section called Add User to Database. Select the user you just created and the database you just created, and click the Add button below. On the next screen, check the All Privileges box and click Make Changes. Okay, now you can go back to your website and you should see a WordPress installation screen on the main page again. Choose your language and click Continue and follow the instructions until you get to this page that asks you to type in information. The database name is the name of the MySQL database you created with a little tag in front of it. The username and password it asks for is the username and password for the MySQL user you created, not the name you'll want to use for your site. Go ahead and type those in and leave the database host and table prefix the same. Then click Submit. If you typed everything correctly, another screen looking like this one should pop up. Go ahead and click Run the install. From there, you can supply information about the account you'll use to log into WordPress on your site, along with your site title and stuff like that. Make sure the box at the bottom that says Allow search engines to index this site is checked. Also, before I forget, this is kind of cool. If you want an email address with your domain in it, for example, james@helpstartmysite.com, which is my email, you can do that by clicking on Email Accounts in your control panel, as shown here. Then, you can access that email by clicking the More button next to the email address and clicking Access Webmail, or depending on the host you went through, they may have handled that through their own website, so be sure to check with them. Anyway, back to WordPress. Fill out that information, click the button at the bottom of the page, and here we go. WordPress has been installed. From there, all you've got to do is log in and you're here. Pretty sweet, huh? Everything's set up now. Of course, WordPress is pretty huge and there are a ton of different things to explore. You can do everything from adding features via plugins to completely changing your site's appearance in a matter of seconds with WordPress, which is one of the things that makes it so great. Unfortunately, WordPress is so huge that it goes far beyond this course, but I encourage you to explore around a bit and see the options that are available to you. You'll find that you can do almost anything you want to extremely easily, which is one of the reasons why it's a perfect system for both beginners and experts alike. I will eventually create a course solely dedicated to using and getting the most out of WordPress, so be sure to check back with me regularly to see if it's out yet. Again, for now, explore the various tabs a bit and make any necessary changes to your site settings or appearance, then we can actually get to create some content for the world to see.